Hey guys, you are talking to Ree, where I come to talk to you about what I have either read in the blogs, watched on TV, or heard in these streets. Today it is about what I have watched on TV. We are talking about 90 Day Fiance Season 9, Episode 5. So this episode centered around family. We're going to wrap up, I guess, like just 6 of the group because we haven't gotten all 7 this week, and it's going to be a relatively short video because there really wasn't too much going on. So let's get some of the couples that really didn't give us much out of the way. Let's get Carrie and Guillermo out of the way. Guillermo meets her mom and uncle. The uncle is overprotective of her, but that's because her father has passed, so he has stepped in as the father role. And the meeting went great. Wasn't much to discuss there. Moving on, let's move on to Arri and Binyam. So Arri and Binyam arrives in the U.S. Her parents picked them up from the airport. They bring them to an apartment that they got for them. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. And they basically say to them, hey, you know what? We are willing to pay the deposit, the security deposit, and the first month's rent. You guys need to step up to pay everything in between. Here's the problem that I have with that. I agree with them that yes, right? I mean, it's great that the parents are willing to even do that much because, you know, some people wouldn't have even done that. My only issue is that if that was the case, you should have allowed them to pick the apartment. Because as Ari said, hey, this is way bigger than what we were living in Ethiopia. You want both of them to take over payments while Binyam hasn't even gotten his green card yet to even be able to work. And Ari has traveled this world being spoiled, not knowing exactly what she wants to do with her life. So she doesn't have a plan. So therefore, you should have allowed them to pick the apartment that they feel is more their speed, something that they can afford, that they're comfortable with, and then say, hey, you know what? Okay, to help you guys out, we'll cover the first month and the last month. Because now it's something within their own means, right? I mean, the apartment was great, but if that's outside of their means, even with a job, then you saying to them, hey, we only got first and last month. Thank you, but yeah, let us pick this out if that's the case. So that's the only issue there. We move on. Okay, we got Bilal and Shaida. So she meets with his children, right? The children are very respectful, seem to be very warm and welcoming. Definitely love that. Great kids. She's speaking with them. They're asking her like, hey, you know what? What do you want us to call you? She says, I want you guys to call me Umi, which means, you know, basically a mother role in her country. Now, the kids, they're like kind of hesitant on it because they're just like, wait, we already have a mom. Like, I know you're not wanting us to call you mom. And I don't think that that's what that means. It just means like, hey, you know, like a bonus mom, like, you know, just like a stepmother. If you introduce her at the school, you're going to say, hey, this is my stepmother and not just my dad's wife. It would be my official stepmother. So she is saying that basically the term for that would be Umi, which is a bonus mom, right? But I get it, they're kids and they don't understand that. And they are reacting the way that, you know, some kids would have reacted, which is, wait, hold on. What is she saying? What is about this? So they just need someone to better explain it to them. And then I feel like once it's better explained, they may be on board with it. And if not, that's okay as well. It doesn't change the fact that they were very, very welcoming to them. So the big issue centers around the children. Once again, they're trying to figure out, does she want kids? She says, of course she wants kids. The dad is like, I'm kind of on the fence with it. Not really sure. I don't know. And Shaida cries to her sister later on, telling her that, hey, you know, when we were in Trinidad and this whole time I told him about kids, he goes, yeah, I think I could stand to have another two. And now she arrives and he's like, yeah, I'm already comfortable with the 2 that I got, right? Because he had everything outside of a wife. Well, Bilal, once again, so we find out that she's told you this is what she wanted beforehand. So you're the one that's changing the rules. If this was the case, Bilal, you should have grabbed you a woman that didn't want extra kids. Okay, maybe she didn't want her own, or maybe she was just comfortable raising yours. But you grabbed your woman that was 37, that biological clock is ticking, and that still wants children. So yeah, that's the problem there. But she said that if he ends up deciding no for the kids, then she's going to go ahead and go back to Trinidad. And I totally understand that. Okay, we move on. Mohammed and Yvette. All right. So they wake up together. She goes off to work. He's looking lost, like, who's going to cook my food? This is something that my mother does for me every morning. She brings me breakfast in bed. Okay, Mohammed, I don't know what to say here, but you got to grow up. You have to grow up. You have to grow up. And just because your mother spoiled you does not mean that, your wife should, especially when you haven't contributed nothing to the household. He meets her son. Her son is special needs, but seems like a very sweet boy, very welcoming as well. And that's another thing, is that her son, with him being special needs, requires a lot of help and assistance. So she's going to need a helpmate and not another son wrapped in a grown man's body. Okay? So with that being said, step up, get to it. No one has time for this. We move on. So I told you guys this is going to be short because there really wasn't much going on. We get to Patrick and Thais, okay? So he's preparing for her move to America. She's preparing as well. She meets with her grandmother, little sister, and father. Y'all, her father is fine. Now, let me tell you something. I am at an age where I am old enough to date your dad, to date the dad and the son, okay? I'm at that in-between age, all right? Papa fine. Papa looks like he probably had her at maybe, what is she? She's 25. Maybe had her at like 18, 19, maybe 20. He got to be like early, maybe mid-40s. Papa looks good, okay? Good-looking man. Very overprotective of her. But what I've learned is a lot of people in different cultures, they're like that, especially with the girls, if they are not married. So I get that. So even though she's 25, where we're like she's grown, she's still not married. And he is nervous because, wait, you talking about going to a whole nother country. This ain't even you dating somebody that lives around a corner or maybe even in a different part of Brazil, like another city. You are going to a whole nother country, to America, where I can't even be able to come and see you to make sure that you're doing okay. He breaks down in tears. That broke my heart. Just really sad about his daughter leaving. However, she hasn't even told the father that she's leaving what's supposed to be extended period and maybe permanently, because she says she doesn't want to break his heart. Okay, well, this is going to break his heart even more, girl, because you decide to tell the public instead of telling your father. She also says that she didn't even want to tell him also because he doesn't like Patrick. The father doesn't like Patrick, but yet she didn't tell Patrick that because Patrick thinks the father likes him, when it's not the case. But I don't even think that the father doesn't like him, not because of what Patrick has done, but simply because he doesn't know him, and also he's protective of his little girl. So to him, nobody's going to be good enough, just as she's explained his behavior with other exes. So I hope that they figure that whole thing out. She arrives. She's already letting him know, listen, we'll try this whole me staying with your brother thing, but if I don't like it, I will take myself back to Brazil and be good, okay? Like, no big deal. I got a family that's loving the crap out of me. They'll be happy for me to come home. Okay, so that is what we learned there. We move on. We go on to the meat and the potato this episode, which is Kobe and Emily. So Kobe has gotten comfortable on his first night here. Now, Kobe and Emily is only one day, and they're already arguing. And they're arguing in front of her family, which was very much inappropriate on Kobe's behalf. Kobe, that's a conversation you should have held in private between you and your fiance and not in front of her parents, especially when you're still making a first impression with them. So he comes to her and he speaks of that he doesn't like that she's still breastfeeding. And this is all for selfish reason. He is saying that, well, it's because I like breasts and I like to suck on them and I can't be sharing breasts with my son. That is the most ridiculous, dumbest, selfish thing that I have heard in such a while. Okay? And it just goes to show of his ignorance when it comes to parenthood. Okay, Kobe, just because your sister only breastfed your nephew until he was 7 months does not mean that that's how the world works. And I want to be clear, that's not just in Africa, because it's not an African thing of only 7 months, because all over the world, mothers are breastfeeding their kids to up to 2 years, right? Some go longer than that. You know, if they go a little longer than that, that's probably where I start the side eye. But definitely up to 24 months is not really a big idea, or it's not a big problem. You know what I mean? There are girls who may go up to 6 months, who may go up to a year. You know, that's their prerogative. But up to 2 years is not a bad idea. My mother breastfed me and all of my siblings up to 2 years. Majority of my friends, same thing, breastfed up to 2 years. You know, my niece up to 2 years, like you name it. That is not uncommon. Uncommon is you saying, hey, I want you to stop providing the best nutrients for our son, the same son you were just crying in the last episode about. But I want you to stop providing the best nutrients for him to make sure that he is getting the best nutrients in the world, which is her breast, from him, because I want to suck on your breast. You can't be serious. You can't be. Now, I was blaming it on culture regarding him saying, hey, you know what? Don't pull out the breast pump in front of your parents and things. That's inappropriate. Go to another room. You know, those types of things. I just put that on culture, right? Like maybe it's a difference in culture, but it's not a difference in culture regarding breastfeeding. This I know for a fact. It is not a difference in culture regarding that, as far as it's only 6 months here and anything outside of that is weird. No, it's only 6 months with your sister, Kobe. Other African women, and I am 1,000% sure on this, it is not uncommon to breastfeed a 17-month, a year and a half baby. Okay, it's not uncommon. It's not. So that right there was very much inappropriate of him. We also learned that Emily is still bossy. Emily, you kick him out of the room because you want to put the child to bed. It's like, I guess you're going to sleep in another room, right? Emily, last episode, you wouldn't even allow him to touch the child's feet. Like you're very much have this is my baby, even though this is both of your children. I mean, both of your son. I'm sorry. The son belongs to both of you. Excuse my grammar. But you are very selfish. Emily gives me spoiled. Emily gives me that kid growing up that was very, very spoiled. And she got to work on that as well, right? So these are two different backgrounds coming together. You have a man of a different culture who is also very alpha male, where he's like, you don't tell me what to do. I run this household, or at least I run our relationship, and so forth. And then you have a woman that's very bossy and spoiled. So we'll just see how that works out. But it was very wrong to be holding those discussions in front of her parents. And I'm blaming that on Kobe. And it's also very ignorant. I'm not going to blame culture as far as the breastfeeding. I'm going to blame your ignorance as far as you telling her that she shouldn't be breastfeeding this long because you want to suck on some breasts. That is the most ignorant thing I've heard all day. very, very ignorant. But we'll see how this plays out. Side note, Emily's mom is gorgeous. Just wanted to make sure I say that. But we'll see how all of this plays out. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely come back for more. I want to hear your comments down below. What are your thoughts? Like, what is the average age that you feel that breastfeeding should be? When does it become weird? Does it become weird after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years? Like, when does it become weird for you guys? And, just leave the comments below. I want to hear what you guys got to say about that. And as far as, Patrick and Dai's, do you think that she was wrong for not telling her father? Should that have been something that she says? Bilal and Shaida, do you think that it was wrong of him changing his mind? That should have been discussed before she came here. So I definitely want to hear everyone's comments. Like, comment, and subscribe. I love you guys. I will speak with you later. Bye.